Councilmember Wilson.
Here.
Councilmember Bass.
Here.
Councilmember Anderson.
Here.
Councilmember Gregory.
Here.
Councilmember Kerstetter.
Here.
Councilmember Evans.
Here.
Councilmember Stam.
So please stand for the invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Good evening. I'm Tyler O'Donnell from Faith Church, and I'll be opening in prayer this evening. Let's pray. Father God, we come before you, thanking you for who you are. You are a great and awesome God. We thank you for creating each person in this room with unique gifts and talents, and gifting our city with leadership whose abilities help us guide the people of Valley Center. We thank you for all you do for us. We thank you that you are in control and over all things. Lord, tonight we pray for our country and for every person running for office, for our future president, to every state and local official. And Lord, whether they lose or win, I pray that you will refresh our spirits and encourage our nation for the task that is ahead. In the name of Jesus, we ask that you help us be a voice for the voiceless, to give our leaders here in Valley Center, in our state, in our nation, the strength to make good decisions for people, both in public and in private. Lord, we pray that you will help them be ready to give grace and ready to receive it. Lord, we pray that you protect the people in this room and their families. We pray that you'll protect them from sickness, from discouragement, and from every fear that the enemy may place in our minds and in our way. Lord, may you go before us, be with every public service member in our community. Lord, may we be encouraged and strengthened by your truth and in your love. Lord, we pray that every person will have the opportunity to come to hear of the good news of your Son, Jesus, that he is the way, the truth, and the life. Lord, bring our community together. Lord, from each line, wherever we stand, Lord, may we be one nation under God. We love you, Lord, and it's in your name that we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Approval of tonight's agenda.
Move to approve the agenda. Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve tonight's agenda. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on to the acceptance of the minutes.
Motion to
October
approve.
15th.
Motion to approve minutes of the October 15th, 2024 regular council meeting as presented.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the October 15th meeting. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on to presentations. We don't have presentations tonight. Public forum. Is there anyone here who would like to address the council on any item that's not on the agenda? I have one. Please state your name, please.
Mike Miller, 701 Dover. Mayor and council members, thank you for the opportunity to come to speak tonight. This has really been on my mind for the last several meetings. For the last two budget cycles, of course, I'm going to talk about the budget. For the last two budget cycles, the city administration and council stood firm that there is no wiggle room in the budget, and we need to keep that mill levy high to cover our costs. In the September 3rd meeting, only council member Kerstetter recommended a reduction in the budget, which was only around $21,000, and stood firm on that reduction. Needless to say, after a few comments from the other council members on how great the city did on the budget passed with a 7-1 vote. The very next meeting on September 17th, the microphone wasn't working. However, I was in attendance and the finance director, Miller, gave a finance review. And while I was not able to pull the exact quotes from the video due to the microphone issue, I specifically recall Director Miller discussing one line item in his review that was going to save thousands of dollars this budget year. I believe the line item was for the website, and the amount was over $10,000. The savings alone would have covered half of the mill levy reduction that Kerstetter. And to be clear, that reduction was not even a budget cut, and the 2025 budget is almost 10% greater than it was in 2024. So in conclusion, it appears that there was indeed some fat in the budget, and Director Miller found some short time on the job, and he has found a new revenue stream in the Intrify accounts. Director Miller, thank you for your detailed presentations and working to find savings and extra income. And back to the September 3rd meeting, when I said the council seems to rubber stamp things that are put in front of them. The 2025 budget is an example of that. Only one person stood up and said, hey, we need a reduction, and everybody else said, no, it all looks good. I don't have time to look at it. I deal with budgets multiple times bigger than this, and basically thanked the city for not raising the levy. So that's all I have to say. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Anyone else? Moving on to appointments. We don't have any appointments tonight. Old business. Moving on to new business. Main Street closure for Christmas events request. It's going to be Chris.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Truman and the council. Yeah, we just requesting a closure of the 100 block of Main Street, West Main Street, for our Christmas kickoff and tree lighting event on December 7th. And it's going to be for 3 hours. The event is, from 6 to 9. The event starts at 7, and we'll do the tree lighting and invite the mayor. I've already invited the mayor. Hopefully they can make it down to light the tree, and we'll have some special guests down there and some music and stuff. So I want to invite everybody to come down, but just wanted approval of that. If it's approved, we will notify the businesses that are affected. Not too many are open Saturday night at that time, but we'll notify everyone affected. So we appreciate it.
Make a motion to approve the request for street closure for the 100 block of West Main on December 7th, 2024, between 6 and 9 p.m. for hometown Christmas tree lighting ceremony.
Second.
Have a motion and second to approve the street closure of West Main. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on to Seneca Street traffic analyst.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Christy Skaggs with PEC. I'm going to be presenting on a traffic analysis and concept option that PEC put together. So for Seneca and Tanner Trail, you might remember the concept that came through mid-summer that council approved. Since then, the elementary school is now going at the northwest corner of Seneca and Tanner Trail. So basically, to ensure that we are taking care of all traffic in and out of the site, we did a separate analysis. And this graphic kind of shows what I'll talk about. So we analyzed a stop-controlled intersection, which was what was in the original concept that you saw, and we also analyzed a roundabout. So the big thing here is you'll notice there's a lot of traffic that backs up in a stop-controlled scenario. And this is really due to the school there. So you're looking at a good example of what it would look like during pickup and drop-off. And that was really what we were concerned about, is those peak hour times during pickup and drop-off. So we ran the stop-controlled intersection. We are not recommending to move forward with that simply due to the school traffic. So we are recommending a roundabout. And you can kind of see it flows a lot better. You don't get the same delays eastbound that you would off of Tanner Trail with a stop-controlled intersection. The traffic memo supports that. That was in your packet. In your packet was also an updated cost estimate of just the intersection itself. as well as a little more detailed display. So I can go into more detail on the analysis in the memo and answer any questions you have on the display and estimate, but we are recommending updating the concept to a roundabout at this intersection.
The stop controlled appeared to just be a two-way stop. Why not four?
So we are recommending stop controlled on Tanner Trail only. And that is because North Seneca is the north-south. Really, there's no reason to stop for the majority of the time that
But in the example, it was the Seneca Street that was stopping.
No, it wasn't. It was kind of turned a little bit. So the one that was backing up really bad was the west leg of the intersection. So that's right where the school would be. Sorry, it was skewed a little bit to be able to see everything. So can you?
Okay, so the top is west?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So where the S is on the stop control, that's kind of where the school would be, if that makes sense. Sorry, it's skewed a little bit.
Okay, thank you.
Did you look at any other ideas?
So we looked at several stop controlled
What
with
examples?
Yep. So with different configurations of turn lanes, we looked at a roundabout, and then we did not do the same in-depth analysis on a traffic light, just because it's very unlikely, several reasons, very unlikely it would meet any warrants. So any warrants, basically, the federal government says this is the criteria you need to meet to put in a traffic light. It likely will not meet any of those.
Does it meet any of those for a roundabout?
So the roundabout, and what you'll see in the memo, is the roundabout runs at what we call a level of service A. So like think of a grade level. A is the best. The stop controlled, the westbound and eastbound, run at level of service C or D. So C's are okay. D's is when we would really trigger recommending a roundabout. And ultimately, that's the reason we're not recommending a stop control.
Where does the stoplight come into play?
The stoplight would come into play. There's, I believe, 7 different warrants. I don't know what they are off the top of my head, but it's basically, do you follow this criteria? Yes. Okay.
Oh, so in your level A, B, C, and D that you were just talking about, where is it in that level?
So it takes a lot of things into consideration. The biggest one is how long you're sitting at the intersection, basically waiting to go. So I believe, hold up here. So your stop controlled intersection from the westbound, the one or the eastbound, the one you see really backed up on your video, you're waiting approximately 35 seconds to actually move forward and get out of there. Whereas the roundabout is average delay is 5 seconds,
So
5.8 seconds.
3 seconds difference.
30, 34, 35 almost
Oh.
to 6.
Okay.
And if you think about buses too, that's a little skewed for buses. Buses need a longer time to actually get out than like passenger vehicles do.
And just for the peak, and I read your memo, and I have another question after this, but we were just mainly talking about for the AM peak hours, the reason for any of this talk.
So we analyzed AM
Is-
peak hours and PM peak hours.
Right. In your memo, it talked about the PM peak hours were the school at a different time and then everybody coming home from work at a different time.
Exactly. Yeah.
So the peak would mainly be when school's in session for
Yes.
the morning.
The one we're concerned about, the big one is the AM peak during school. Yes.
Can you go to page 19? And it's this one?
Yep.
I don't understand this one very well.
Okay.
And it might, Yeah, that one.
Yep. So what you're looking at is different components, I would say, of the overall numbers. So, for example, the elementary school on the top right, those are the vehicles that we are expecting to go through the intersection just because of the school. So if you look at the numbers on, can you scroll back up? The numbers on the bottom left hand, that 114, 11, and 102. So we're expecting, based off traffic projections, 114 cars turn left, 11 go straight through, and 102 go right and head south. So all of those little pieces and all of those numbers add up to the peak hour total. So the bottom right, you can scroll down for me. The bottom right AM peak hour total, that is basically all of the vehicles for all of the different reasons. That's what it's going to look like, or what
Okay.
we're projecting it to look like.
That makes more sense now. I didn't understand it. So, everybody knows how I feel about roundabouts. I feel like we're getting too many of them. That's my last thing. Broadway and 85th counts.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone in here has been through Webb City, Missouri. I used to hate roundabouts. I guess I just didn't understand them. But when you come into town from the west, there's a stoplight, and I'll be stuck there for 2 to 4 minutes sometimes. And then after that, there's 2 to 3 roundabouts at major intersections in their main road through town. And I'm going to say I've waited at the most 1 second with heavy traffic to enter that roundabout and get through. And so I know there's people that don't like roundabouts. I got real life experience with them. They make traffic move a lot smoother, even at higher or more busy intersections than what this is going to be. So that just was going to add my real life experience.
Robert?
Yeah, I'd like to just do some clarification because I think Mr. Kirkstetter was asking for a letter grade on a light. And as you said, we do not meet the requirements for a light to be looked at in this intersection. So therefore, it was not given a grade. I think you were trying to get to that point of getting a letter grade on that. So Ms. Christie's not going to have that for you. I'm also with Mr. Bass here. Roundabouts are amazing. Webb City, those roundabouts are 3 lanes wide. Some are 4. And they are absolutely phenomenal going through that town. You're right, that one light is still there on the west side that you sit there forever. But getting to I-40 or 41, Business 41, Business 71, whatever it is that gets you over there to Fayetteville, yeah, those roundabouts are amazing. So I'm 100% behind this being the correct recommendation for this type of intersection.
To me, we're glossing over the number one issue. It's safety. You have buses turning left, and you would have, as Gina pointed out, it was a 2-way stop. So you're going to have traffic coming north and south. That just presents itself to having a T-bone wreck with the school bus and with the elementary school students. And it's a no-brainer to put a roundabout. Even if there is any kind of collision, the data suggests it's going to be a low speed. It's not going to be a severe crash. And that's the number one issue that we're looking at. And that's number one. It's not convenience for me. It's safety. And the times that's going to be, we don't warrant a traffic light because there's, as you pointed out, it's so few times during the day. It's high volume in a small amount of time, and a roundabout can handle that. And then that's why we should put one there. Thank you.
Councilman Anderson must have read my notes, but safety is a big thing. I mean, it's a whole lot safer. I actually talked to Sean Fox about a month ago about the roundabout there at 77th and Broadway, and he said they've maybe had 1 wreck there since that thing's been put in. And again, you can't fix every stupid driver out there. Something's going to happen. What would the cost comparison of putting a signal in there to a roundabout? What's just ballpark? I know we talked about it at 69th and stuff, but I don't remember the price difference from doing the light to the roundabout.
So it's probably roughly half. The problem right now is signals are very, very hard to get to. with all of the hurricanes. So we are seeing a crazy price change, crazy lead time change, crazy everything. There was a big plant somewhere in Florida that I don't know if it no longer exists or is not in operation. But this is not I don't have a great answer for price just because we're looking at anywhere from 18 to 24 months to be able to get one probably. And with demand, I mean, they can jack those costs up pretty significantly.
Yeah. I might be for her or maybe Mr. Clark. Could you go to 24, I think it is? It's just a diagram of the intersection. And
Definitely not good.
That's it. Okay. On those two houses that are to the east,
Yes, and
are we taking some of their easement or lawn? It doesn't literally look for like we would for the northeast house.
I don't think it's any additional permanent right of way, but there's some temporary construction. Or Christy, do you know more? I don't know exactly. I know it's going to be close because we do actually have
the
quite a bit of
southeast
right
one
of
is the
way
one
now.
that I'm more curious about.
So we're still in concept phase, but the only thing we're really concerned about there is drainage.
A
So
very
just
good
making sure we have the space to put the pipes and stuff in the ground. So I'm guessing no permanent right away, but potentially some permanent drainage easement just to get the pipe. So they're not going to see anything. It's nothing going to be above ground, but that would be the only thing.
And if you're familiar with that area over there, the property owner on the south side, the Thiesens, that they have a huge area that just looks terrible near roads every time it rains, and you can't really maintain it. There's no concrete flume, there's no pipe. It's just dirt, and you should watch him mow the side of that. It is something that's extremely dangerous. So I think this will be an improvement. I have been in contact with them on the south side since the concept phase of the TIF district. And so with them being fellow neighbors in the same subdivision, they reach out on a regular basis. And so the property owners to the north, not so much. I haven't been in contact with them as often, but the ones in the south, absolutely.
I just be concerned with taking away driveway or anything like that.
Yep. And now we have been in communication, of course, with the Fillers Creek HOA and their president because they do want to redo that entrance into the subdivision there. And so they actually want to pull it out, put conduit in and those types of things for their flock cameras and stuff that they currently have. And then for some lighting of some sort. And so, since we're in concept phase, once the council agrees to whatever direction we want to go to, then we'll have further conversations with them. I did want to reiterate, currently we do not have any roundabouts in Valley Center on major corridors. We are going to have our first one on 69th and Meridian, and so that'll be our first actual roundabout on a major corridor, which this is not. This is not a major arterial street. Correct? The classification? It's a collector. And so the other one that we currently have is in front of the rec center, of course. That is a brand new one. It's not, on a street. It's in a parking lot. And then the other one is in Sunflower Valley, where those high density, homes are in the duplex subdivision that we do have. So just want to make clarification on that for all the folks watching at home that, we actually only have one.
Don't go away. Don't go away. How does this fit with what the state has agreed to?
Yes, and so this is a cost share grant, and so there's just $1 million towards construction, and so they just review the plans. It's not like the Meridian project where that's through WAMPO, where we do our contribution and then we're kind of out of the project. Even though I think with Meridian we've kind of wrestled our way into it, but anyways, and so this one is just like Ford Street when we redid Ford Street with the Economic Development Grant. This one's just cost share, where $1 million goes to construction, and then they let the locals have the control The part that is WAMPO funding is the trail itself. And so that is a separate portion of this project that is WAMPO funded with federal funds that we do have to meet their requirements and regulations. And so that's the $430,000 some odd, or a little over $400,000 grant that we did receive on the trail portion from 4th to 5th. And then, of course, remember the remaining budget of this is coming from the TIF district proceeds. And so we do want to make sure you're aware of that. One thing I do want to mention, I've been through a few drop-off and pickup lines in this community now that I've been here 5.5 years. And it's incredible the amount of money that we do have to spend for those 15-minute windows. And then we don't need it. But for those 15 minutes, the safety component of it is worth any life. It's no different than what we're trying to focus on and figure out a solution to 5th Street on 5th and Emporia with those crosswalk lights, and adding additional beacons. And so it seems like a lot, but there's not too many opportunities where you get a chance to build a road designed for a school from the get-go. I mean, it is going to be designed for that school. It's not designed for the residential and for Fiddler's Creek because the 65 homes don't need it, but it's designed for that elementary school. So I do want to make sure that we reiterate that. And also the amount of times that we have had to deal with the 5th Street and Meridian stoplight, Mr. Eggleston, has been, I can't even count on 2 hands since I've been here, the number of times and the amount of money that we've spent in that intersection. It still doesn't function properly all the time.
But it's better than when it was a 4-way stop.
Oh, I've no doubt that's probably true. But we've had to sink a lot of money. Your roundabouts one time, and then it's just the general maintenance of upkeep of the road. So I know roundabouts aren't favored, favorably looked on upon, around here, but I'm telling you, they're coming all over Sedgwick County. The county likes them, communities like them, residents like them. So thank you.
Ron?
So far nobody's talked about one item, and I'm curious. I don't see any entrances on Seneca for into the school for buses or individuals.
So the entrance
Do they have to?
The entrance into the school based on the current site plan is off of Tanner Trail. So you'll go into that new development and you'll enter into the school site off of Tanner Trail, which is not yet constructed. There's no entrances for the school off of Seneca.
Obviously.
Correct.
Okay. Do you know how many buses will approximately be assigned to the school?
I do not.
Because that could get hectic at one time when school is either starting or ending.
It will get very hectic, but I don't know that they've decided yet exactly how many rent.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact number, but now if you recall in the site plan, the concept that we showed you for the school proposal, the buses will be in a separate area off of Chisholm Trail Drive. And so the new north-south road that's off of Tanner Trail, that will be a bus-only area. It won't be for the general public or pickup and drop-offs for parents. That will happen in the front of the school. And so that's off of Tanner Trail. And then Chisholm Trail will connect to 5th. And so you have an entrance on 5th to a new north-south road, and then Seneca, Tanner Trail through the roundabout.
Thank you.
And they told me the number of buses. I just cannot remember. And that was in a concept phase, so it might not even be accurate.
The only thing I'm looking at there at the same time is the buses are going to be one problem. But once the school is completed, then you're going to have to start to have delivery by the big trucks. And they're going to come up there and tear that road apart. I'm not talking about the 18-wheeler. I'm not talking about the delivery supplies and that. I'd say
I can address a couple of things. So the buses in the afternoon, you're right, there'll be a lot at one time. Mornings aren't really as big a deal. They come in at different times because they run different routes. As far as the truck traffic, probably the biggest deliveries they get, and they're smaller trailers, I see them. Those go to the intermediate school, and that's going to be the food and stuff. And then they have the box trucks that will distribute to the other schools. So there probably won't be that many a week. I can't say that it'll never happen, that they won't get some sort of delivery there. But typically the weekly deliveries are going to be the food that go to the intermediate, and then they get distributed by the school district's staff in box trucks.
Okay, thank you.
Matt?
Just a comment about Ron saying that's going to be a cluster. It will never be as bad as the cluster we have up this road here. The schools right all there together. That's a cluster, and I don't know what's going to be done to fix that. But I would drive through that 1,000 times if I drive through there one time.
I wasn't going to say anything about it. I'm kidding. I came through there this afternoon. Anybody else? I just have one comment. What would it take to put that diagram of the two designs on the website? That'd be something.
A little video.
Yeah, that little short video. I mean, I sat back there during the staff meeting. It was amazing to see the traffic flow difference. And I don't think people have that in their head. But if we could kind of show them the difference, I think we'd have a new love for roundabouts if they pay attention to it. So, that's just my comment. Okay, moving on. Can we get a
Move to accept traffic analysis and approve recommendation of a roundabout at Seneca and Tanner Trail.
Second.
have a motion and a second to approve the Seneca Street study? Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on to resolution 769-24.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. Tonight I'm going to be talking about a possible IntraFi account for Legacy Bank. 2 weeks ago today, we had a walk-in visitor by the name of Jacqueline Dewey. She was a vice president at Legacy Bank, and she's actually a Valley Center resident as well. She is friends with Clint Bass, and she had been chatting with Clint about some of the different IntraFi products they might be getting into, and she asked for 15 minutes of my time. We had a brief conversation, and she was very direct, and she basically said, I know Fidelity has supposedly the strongest rates out there, that our rates are better, and they're always going to be better. And she was just very, she asked if she could get into the process. So to kind of give you an idea of where we're at now, our accounts are now in IntraFi. Just a real brief update, we have 90 different banks around America, over 40 something different states. The largest of them, 7 of them in Massachusetts. We have 1 bank in Kansas, but again, it's randomly assigned to very strong financial institutions. And those accounts are currently with Fidelity through IntraFi. Legacy is simply asking to join the process so that in the future we can, as money is going to be invested, or we're looking, comparing rates, because right now they're in 30-day CDs. That would add Intrust plus Emprise plus Fidelity, and we would now be adding Legacy. So this is kind of an extension of some of the things I've talked about to you previously. So that's really all I have. It's really just a decision if you guys would like to add one more bank to our possible investment portfolio that we would shop rates with, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Questions?
It's probably a stupid question, but I think I know the answer. exclusion lists, it's because we have accounts with those banks. That's the only,
You essentially want to, we don't want to have one of those random accounts that we're going to be investing money in be essentially a competitor that just bid and did not.
because that would be more than $250,000 into two different accounts at the same bank. Essentially, right?
We're just trying to avoid the banks that, if we have $1 million to invest and we chose to go with Legacy, that means these three banks did not get that money, and we're just trying to keep them off the list so that, there's no until perhaps. That's all.
I figured it might be something to do with FDIC insurance.
It would still be guaranteed. We're just trying to not cause, I apologize, I thought I had this turned off. Uncomfortable situations.
Okay.
Yes, everything would still be guaranteed and fully FDIC insured up to $250,000, even if it did land with these banks. But they prefer keeping them off them for this resolution.
Sounds great.
Any other questions?
Motion to adopt resolution 769-24, expanding the investment option with Legacy Bank for the city of Valley Center with an IntraFi account.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve resolution 769-24. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Now we got to have a motion for the signature.
Motion to approve Clint Miller, Desiree Womack, and Mayor Truman and Council President Anderson as authorized signers on Legacy Bank City of Valley Center IntraFi account.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the signatures for the Legacy Bank and the City of Valley Center. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on to the approval of a contract for financial audit.
Good evening again. We went out to RFP for audit services. This is a 5-year contract to do the annual audit of the Valley Center accounts. We received 3 bids, one from Lloyd Group, one from BT and Company, and one from Gordon CPA. All 3 firms, or accounting firms, have exceptional reputations. Very extensive list working with cities, a team of CPAs, and outstanding support staff. At the end of the day, go back up, that'd be great. 2 of those 3 came in at $112,500. Gordon CPA, who has been our current auditing company for the last 5 years, came in $20,430 less over a 5-year contract. It is our recommendation to renew our contract with Gordon CPA. We have had nothing but very good success with them over the last 5 years, and I've heard nothing but positive things since I've come in here. They're very easy to work with, and while we think all 3 are great options, we think Gordon CPA would be the best option for us for the next 5 years. Be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Questions?
I move to approve the 5-year contract with Gordon CPA in the amount of $92,815 and authorize mayor to sign.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve bank services. Any further discussion? I got jumped ahead.
I did that when I was reading it.
Approval of the contract for the financial audit. There we go. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Okay, now moving on to the approval of the RFP, bank services.
I'm going to have to give you a little bit of history on this one, but on October 21st, I had a long video call with Ian Hodgson at Intrust Bank. Valley Center has banked with Intrust Bank for, I can't even find the contract, but we think it's close to 4 decades now. But the majority of the call was about security measures on our account, possible changes in that regard. However, after we talked about security measures, I then brought up that Valley Center is looking to get the full 90-day T-bill note on our investment account, like I talked to you about before. These are funds that sit in the account, basically paying the bills. And what we're wanting to do going forward is keep $5 million in that account at all times, and then use the rest of the funds that are not $5 million and put that into IntraFi on any given month to start making a higher rate of return than what we've seen. And then let's just say hypothetically this month we have $1 million in bills we pay out. We sell $1 million in IntraFi, bring it back in December 1st, we're back at $5 million. We're just keep repeating that process. The highest amount of bills that we've had in the last 2 years has been 3.4 million in 1 month. In 1 month. So we believe 5 million will be a very sufficient number, and we should not have an issue with that. But if we do see a large bill coming up, we obviously could move more over for that month in preparation for that as well. So I'll get back to that conversation here in a second. But going back into real notes, rates have continued to drop a little bit. They're currently at 4.54% for the 90-day T-note. What that means is many other cities around Kansas, including Mays, all of them through Kansas City, even some throughout Wichita, are earning 4.54% on their $5 million in our example that are sitting in their account. Valley Center earns in comparison 3.63, and that's how it's been for decades now. So we earn 8/10 of that 90-day Treasury note, which is add up to some serious money. So on a $5 million note, in real numbers, those cities are making $227,000 a year in interest. Valley Center would be making $181,500 a year in interest, or a difference of $45,500. That is assuming that the rate stayed at 4.54%. Longer term, they're expecting rates to probably move closer to 3.5% up until the year 2018. So even at that point in time, that would be 3.5%. Again, we're missing the 0.2 out of that, which is 0.7. That would be $35,000 a year. So what we're talking about here is about $45,000 in 2025 and $35,000 a year in lost interest in all the years going forward up to 2018. That's what the banks are currently projecting. So in addition, I've not really calculated it, but interest charges Valley Center fees and fees and fees and fees and fees. We have ACH fees, we have account maintenance fees, we have transfer fees, we have a lot of fees. I have been told by some of the banks I've been talking to that a lot of those fees will be going away if we would choose to go up to RFP. So it's hard for me to calculate that, but it would be in the thousands of dollars course of a year as well. So essentially what we're talking about today is if Valley Center were to choose to go to RFP, we would be under absolutely no obligation to select a bank, but if we did, it would be about $45,000 for 2025 in new cash revenue and about $35,000 a year ongoing until about 2018. They really don't forecast rates much further than that at this point, so it's hard to tell what would happen after that, but that's kind of where they're guessing right there. So I have had conversations with numerous banks at this point in time, strongly hinting that we will be able to get the 90-day T-bill rate from them. So I'm confident that that would happen if we did choose to go to RFP. So this hypothetical money is most likely probable money. Kind of a slang term, but right now, with these presentations I've done in recent weeks, Valley Center is not so much the hunter right now. We're kind of being hunted. Banks are starting to call us. They're hearing that we might be going up to market, and they're trying to make themselves attractive to us. So essentially, this RFP would be only for banks in Sedgwick County. And we have no obligation to pick any of them. So kind of details of the RFP. These would be Sedgwick County banks only, as I said. This is only for banking services. I'm not going to tie this into investment accounts. However, I did put in the RFP that banks with investment divisions are encouraged to reach out to me to discuss possible synergies. We might have additional people that want to bid on IntraFi or other products like that if there's synergies there. Like I said, it would be $5 million in the account going forward. This would include all of our banking functions, including checks, positive pay, ACH, direct deposit, everything we currently utilize in our account. I've also put in there the banks must pledge securities to cover our $5 million, whatever might be in those accounts. And we're going to send this invitation fairly wide. I've found about 15 to 20 local banks in Sedgwick County that have strong financial reserves, and we're just going to kind of send it out there to see what response we have. In addition, we are going to invite Intrust, we're going to invite Halstead, we're going to invite Emprise. I've talked to Commerce recently, I've talked to Legacy. So that's in addition to the 15 to 20. So there's going to be quite a few people that will receive this proposal from us if you're choosing to. So the timeline, if the council chooses to pass this tonight, we would go to market tomorrow. We would close it on December 5th at 4:30 p.m. We would review proposals until December 16th. And then on December 17th, we would come back to council with our recommendation of either staying with Intrust or giving you a couple banking options that we think would be attractive for Valley Center and how much money that would be able to save us. I'd probably have much more detailed information at that time on fees compared to what we have and what they're proposing, in addition to the rate we would receive on our $5 million in idle funds at any given month. I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Dan? No, it's fine. You answered one of my questions already, so thank you for that. You mentioned 2018 twice, and I think you meant 2028.
Sorry.
Is that right? Because it was about the interest rate.
28, I apologize. It's
Okay.
been a long day. I apologize.
Okay, that's all I had.
Clint, logistically, switching banks, what does that mean for city staff as far as what we have for current bank drafts from residents, if anything? I don't know how that works. Is there any work on city staff side as far as switching banks?
It would absolutely be work on city staff side,
Okay.
getting things set up. As far as the large amount of ACHs we receive in for utilities and stuff like that, that's pretty simple. That's going into one place and switching one bank account over to another. However, we do ACHs out to customers to clients and bills on any given month. We have numerous processes, and I'm not going to try to downplay that. It would be quite a bit of work for myself, Desiree, Amanda, and our staff over probably 3 to 5 weeks, getting everything transitioned. And at that point in time, it would just become a normal banking situation for us, new logins, and everything should return. There would be a transition time. Would be quite a bit of additional.
Does that mean anything for the residents that have, like, say, automatic bill pay? Would they have to do anything different, or is that all on our end?
Those are things that are very, very easy to switch over.
Okay.
That's just going in and changing the banking information on one page, and boom, they wouldn't even know it. They wouldn't even know we switched.
That's what I want to know. I want to know if it's going to cause work for our residents to have to do anything, or us send them
The
something.
work is more towards setting up, we have money that comes in from tax accounts and from Sedgwick County,
Okay.
money going out to the state. And there's all kinds of money going in and out all over the place. We'd have to reset up that. But
Okay.
as far as how the residents' situation, I think it would be extremely minimal, if non-existent.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else?
Motion to approve the RFP for banking services and authorize staff to collect proposals.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the RFP for banking services. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signal by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you, Clint. Moving on to the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor, signal by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on to staff reports. Who we got up first?
Kyle.
Kyle. Neil.
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. Just wanted to give you a quick update on our welcome sign out at the Ford Street. If you haven't seen it yet, the lights are on it. They have been working, minus one in the middle, which was dead out of the box. So that part has been ordered and should be shipped, I think, early December is what they've told us. So hope to get that up and repaired just as soon as possible. Also, we received our first shipment of trees for the Meridian project just today. We expect to start planting, I think, right around the week of the 18th this month. So I'm excited about that. Probably about a fourth of them came. So the process is going to kind of work like this.
we're going to, different trees get dug at different times. There's different availabilities through the different vendors we've shopped. And so they'll kind of be in a little bit of a piecemeal, scenario as to how they get shipped to us or delivered to us, and then planted thereafter, which will actually work out really well for us because it'll just give them to us a little bit at a time and help us to just kind of stage out the plantings over the course of that time period between now and spring. So spring, some some trees need to be dug closer to late winter, early spring. So it's going to work out really perfect. And we have made the majority of the people that we talked to, we had mentioned that to them, so that we knew certain species would be just that. So we did talk with the residents that were going to be receiving some of those trees that were like that would be dug closer. So they are kind of anticipating some of that as well. So we will be communicating with them with emails as we start this process, and sharing with them a variety of information, all the way from tree care, plant care, tips, as well as kind of just walking them through we're letting you know this is getting started, and trying to keep communication up with them. So just in for any questions.
Thank you. Lloyd?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So if you follow us on Facebook, you probably have already seen that we have started our Angel Tree project that we do every year. So some of my officers were busy the day after Halloween putting the Christmas tree up. So if you've seen that picture, it's not a stock photo. The tree is up in our front lobby. So if you're interested, I know there's some that come every year to adopt kids. Anyone interested in doing that, we have kids for adoption in the tree. Thank you.
Thank you. Randy?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So to start off, a real quick update on the Meridian project. First off, we'll go from north to south. We did get an update on the lights. They said that we have a ship date of December 6th. So that's all we have on that at this point in time. With all construction, we didn't have rain forever, and now we get rain. And so some of us are saying, yay, rain. People that are doing construction are saying, no, we got rain. So due to the rain, they have delayed the closing of the railroad tracks till Monday on the 11th, just due to the extra work that causes. This week they have been removing asphalt and milling on the west side. They plan to do some grading and work on the west side there. When we had our rain, we did, a member of Neil's staff was in. I wasn't in during the time that it was raining, and he was able to drive North Meridian. He said it was handling that water very, very well, even while the rain was falling. So pretty impressed with how much better it was up there then. In response to the 5th Street, as Brent said, we have been researching some different ways to resolve this. So we have advanced warning signs where you have crosswalk ahead. We're looking into possibly looking at options where we can have blinkers there on those crosswalk ahead signs. So you'll have blinkers several hundred feet before the actual crosswalk. So it'll require upgrade of controllers and communication equipment, solar equipment, different blinkers. And so we're looking into what the whole logistics of that are. We've got some quotes, but we're looking at some different options for that. So that's where we're at this point in time.
Rodney, as far as that, you're talking about the like crosswalk ahead signs, those blinkers would be activated when somebody hits the light.
Yeah,
okay.
So that's why the controllers would have to be updated. So when they hit that button, everything happens at the same time.
I like that idea because I know when we put our first set of those in, the upside of them was that the traditional signs that just had a blinking sign that for the crosswalks, people got used to them and didn't really recognize them. So that's why I was asking that.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what is needed. The next step is needed if we have to go further. But that absolutely is an attention grabber where it's not just going all the time because people get numb to seeing it and are used to it. So thank you.
Yep, and so we've got quotes. The installation isn't completed. I haven't been able to finish all the conversations with the vendor at this point in time to get all the details on what the installation might be, whether it would be feasible for us to do it, or if there's proprietary programming involved, so we can get iron down a more solid number.
To piggyback up on Mr. Anderson, is there technology to change the color of the flashing lights? Everybody pays attention to flashing blue and red for some reason.
Well, I would have to look into that. My guess would be you would actually change the actual beacons themselves for that.
I just had to thought it'd probably be too.
But we can
Anyway.
check on that.
And then the next question I had was on the South Meridian, they're communicating with everybody that they delayed the start of the railroad portion.
Yeah, they did. They delayed that they delayed the closure till Monday.
Communicated that though.
Oh, yes, they put out an updated letter and a door knocker.
It's
So
on
they're
a
gonna put out
Facebook
an
page.
updated-
Not everybody looks at Facebook, believe it
I
or
know,
not.
but they get the big signs that say 11.
Yeah, they've given us an updated letter to put out to the vendor.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
I got a question for Rodney, Mayor.
Oh, okay.
Do we have an update on the concrete flume between Goff and Fieldstone?
Oh, yes. So
It's wet. I know
yes.
that.
They did contact me and they said with the rains, they were delayed to come back. They were supposed to come back this week. I need to give them a call tomorrow. I'm guessing they're gonna say, well, with the recent rains, we're gonna be delayed again, but I will get in contact with them tomorrow. Hopefully I'll have an update.
Just wondering, I mean, that water's going to keep standing in there because it's
It will.
below the tubes and it's never going to go out unless somebody's going to come pump it out. So,
Yeah, there's gonna have to be water pumped.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any two way around it.
awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
Barry?
Thank you.
Okay, anything else?
Just a point of clarification, I apologize for forgetting this because I was trying to tie back into it in my last presentation. But like I told you, I met with Ian Hoskinson from Entrust. We did offer them the ability to match that rate that we've been trying to see, that 90-day rate. I think this is very important for you to know because, again, Valley Center, we value the relationship. It's been a very long relationship with Entrust. They took 5 days to get back to me, and they chose to not match that rate, even knowing that other cities were going to match that rate. So based on that decision is the only reason I brought the RFP to you today. Brent and I had to kind of decide if they did match it, that probable RFP process probably would not be happening tonight. But again, Entrust chose to not match that rate. So I apologize for forgetting that earlier. I kind of started reading off, no longer reading off my notes, and I forgot to mention it to you. So.
Yeah. And when you're talking Pinterest person, that's not our local, that's the downtown.
I'm talking to the high senior vice presidents.
That's unfortunate.
They chose to, they asked to be a part of the RFP, which I found quite interesting, but they chose to not match it. So I think they honestly thought perhaps bluffing. Is that a bad word to use?
No, that's appropriate to me.
And since that time, we've transferred a great number of millions of dollars out of their accounts into Fidelity to go to Intrify. I think they now know that we were not bluffing. And again, it was a sincere offer to try to keep our relationship with them. They chose to pass on at a very high level within the organization.
Thank you. Great.
Would refer mine to Mr. Ableton.
He did remind me subtly that I forgot that we did get the utility manager's position filled. We just now this week got the bios completed to send out for the next newsletter. I hope to have, we got that position filled and our open streets position filled. So I hope to have those two individuals here at the next meeting to introduce them to you. The utilities manager's name is Nicholas Manning. He comes to us from, He was holding a utilities director position for McAllister, Oklahoma. He comes to us from there. He has extensive utility construction backgrounds. He's worked with Wildcat, UMC, and several others. So he's very, very familiar with underground pipe, valves. He was overseeing the operations of a water plant and 2 wastewater plants in McAllister, Oklahoma. So he's come in, he's working out great. Everybody's getting along, and he's already come up with some really good ideas. So. And then our new streets position, his name is Skylar Fleetwood, and he's a very pleasant young man, and he's fitting in great. Like I said, hopefully we'll have them both here. Introduce them to you next meeting.
What? Moving on to governing body. Only thing I have is I went down Meridian during the torrential rain and I was amazed that there wasn't any water standing. It's quite an improvement from seeing canoes to down Meridian. And thank the Chamber Main Street Association for the Halloween trick or treat thing. Despite the wind, it was quite a turnout. I heard a head count of 2,000, but I don't know who took that. But there was a lot of people downtown, and I appreciate the turnout. Let alone all the people that were passing out the candy. Chamber did another great job. Also have a boatload of thank yous from second graders that came to visit us at City Hall. That was nice, and I met them at trick or treat night too. That was fun. They said, "Hey, I sat in your chair. Hey, so it was quite a deal. So I appreciate that. I appreciate the citizens of this town too. So that's all I have. Ron?
I don't have any.
Dale? Or Robert, I mean?
I'm good, sir. Thank you.
Clint?
Nothing for me.
Ben?
I had one short thing. If we could get Rodney to do Brent's staff report at the end of every meeting, that'd be fantastic. I don't know if we need an official vote on that or. Second. I have nothing else.
All right, thank you. Except on this, a good evening, council. Gina?
Nothing.
Dale?
Nothing.
Chris?
I'm good.
Matt?
I got something to say, but I'm just gonna make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second to adjourn. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify for raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Meeting adjourned.